Okay, here we go. Good morning. Here's a prayer, a morning prayer by Bahá'u'lláh. I have risen this morning by thy grace, O my God. Oops, that's not the one I meant to say. I give praise to thee, O my God, that thou hast awakened me out of my sleep and brought me forth after my disappearance and raised me up from my slumber. I have wakened this morning with my face set toward the splendors of the day star of thy revelation, through which the heavens of thy power and thy majesty have been illumined, acknowledging thy signs, believing in thy book, and holding fast unto thy cord. I beseech thee by the potency of thy will and the compelling power of thy purpose, to make of what thou didst reveal unto me in my sleep the surest foundation for the mansions of thy love that are within the hearts of thy loved ones, and the best instrument for the revelation of the tokens of thy grace and thy loving kindness. Do thou ordain for me, through thy most exalted pen, O my Lord, the good of this world and of the next. I testify that within thy grasp are held the reins of all things. Thou changest them as thou pleasest. No God is there save thee, the strong, the faithful. Thou art he who changeth through his bidding abasement into glory and weakness into strength and powerlessness into might and fear into calm and doubt into certainty. No God is there but thee, the mighty, the beneficent. Thou disappointest no one who hath sought thee, nor dost thou keep back from thee anyone who hath desired thee. Ordain thou for me what becometh the heaven of thy generosity and the ocean of thy bounty. Thou art verily the Almighty, the most powerful. Here is a prayer by Bahá'u'lláh. Praised be thou, O Lord my God. Every time I attempt to make mention of thee, I am hindered by the sublimity of thy station and the overpowering greatness of thy might. For were I to praise thee throughout the length of thy dominion and the duration of thy sovereignty, I would find that my praise of thee can befit only such as are like unto me, who are themselves thy creatures, and who have been generated through the power of thy decree, and been fashioned through the potency of thy will. And at whatever time my pen ascribeth glory to any one of thy names, methinks I can hear the voice of its lamentation in its remoteness from thee, and can recognize its cry because of its separation from thyself. I testify that everything other than thee is but thy creation, and is held in the hollow of thy hand. To have accepted any act or praise from thy creatures is but an evidence of the wonders of thy grace and bountiful favors, and a manifestation of thy generosity and providence. I entreat thee, O my Lord, by thy most great name, whereby thou didst separate light from fire and truth from denial, to send down upon me and upon such of my loved ones as are in my company the good of this world and of the next. Supply us then with the wondrous gifts that are hid from the eyes of men. Thou art verily the fashioner of all creation. No God is there but thee, the Almighty, the All-Glorious, the Most High. There's another one by the Bab. All majesty and glory, O my God, and all dominion and light and grandeur and splendor be unto thee. Thou bestowest sovereignty on whom thou willest, and dost withhold it from whom thou desirest. No God is there but thee, the all-possessing, the most exalted. Thou art he who createth from naught the universe, and all that dwell therein. There is nothing worthy of thee except thyself, while all else but thee are as outcasts in thy holy presence. And there is nothing when compared to the glory of thine own being. Far be it from me to extol thy virtues, save by what thou hast extolled thyself in thy weighty book, where thou sayest, no vision taketh in him, but he taketh in all vision. He is the subtle, the all-perceiving. Glory be unto thee, O my God. Indeed, no mind or vision, however keen or discriminating, can ever grasp the nature of the most insignificant of thy signs. Verily thou art God. No God is there besides thee. I bear witness that thou thyself alone art the sole expression of thine attributes, that the praise of no one besides thee can ever attain to thy holy court. Nor can thine attributes ever be fathomed by anyone other than thyself. Glory be unto thee. Thou art exalted above the description of anyone save thyself. Since it is beyond human conception to befittingly magnify thy virtues, or to comprehend the inmost reality of thine essence. Far be it from thy glory that thy creatures should describe thee, or that anyone besides thyself should ever know thee. I have known thee, O my God, by reason of thy making thyself known unto me. For hadst thou not revealed thyself unto me, I would not have known thee. I worship thee by virtue of thy summoning me unto thee. For had it not been for thy summons, I would not have worshipped thee. I'm going to recite the prayer for the northeastern states. O thou kind Lord, praise be unto thee, that thou hast shown us the highway of guidance, opened the doors of the kingdom, and manifested thyself. Through the Son of Reality. To the blind thou hast given sight, to the deaf thou hast granted hearing. Thou hast resuscitated the dead. Thou hast enriched the poor. Thou hast shown the way to those who have gone astray. Thou hast led those with parched lips to the fountain of guidance. Thou hast suffered the thirsty fish to reach the ocean of reality. And thou hast invited the wandering birds to the rose garden of grace. O thou Almighty, we are thy servants and thy poor ones. We are remote and yearn for thy presence, are athirst for the water of thy fountain, are ill, longing for thy healing. We are walking in thy path and have no aim or hope save the diffusion of thy fragrance, so that all souls may raise the cry of, O God, guide us to the straight path. May their eyes be open to behold the light. May they be freed from the darkness of ignorance. May they gather around the lamp of thy guidance. May every portionless one receive a share, and may the deprived become the confidants of thy mysteries. O Almighty, look upon us with the glance of mercifulness. Grant us heavenly confirmation. Bestow upon us the breath of the Holy Spirit. so that we may be assisted in thy service, and like unto brilliant stars, shine in these regions with the light of thy guidance. Verily thou art the mighty, the powerful, the wise, and the seeing. I was going to recite the Tablet of Mercy, but in order to do that, I have to go get the book. So, if you'll excuse me for just half a minute, I'll be right back. This is ginger tea. I make it fresh and add just a tiny bit of agave. And it's really good. Okay. Okay, so this tablet is found in the Epistle to the Son of the Wolf, which is a book that Bahá'u'lláh wrote. It was really a letter, but it's the size of a full-length book. And it's also found in, I believe it's also found in tablets of Baha'u'lláh revealed after the Kitab-i-Aqdas. I know it's in two places. I'm going to do my best to recite it from memory, but I may have to peek. O thou who hast set thy face towards the splendors of my countenance, vague fancies have encompassed the dwellers of the earth, and debarred them from turning toward the horizon of certitude and its brightness and its manifestations and its lights. Vain imaginings have withheld them from him who is the self-subsisting. They speak as prompted by their own caprices and understand not. Among them are those who have said, have the verses been sent down? Say yea, by the King of the heavens. Hath the hour come? Nay, more, it hath passed. By him who is the revealer of clear tokens, verily the inevitable is come, and he, the true one, hath appeared with proof and testimony. The plain is disclosed, and mankind is sore vexed and fearful. Earthquakes have broken loose, and the day is God's, the one, the mighty, the beneficent. Say, the stunning trumpet blast hath been loudly raised, and the day is God's, the one, the unconstrained. Earthquakes have broken loose, and the tribes have lamented for fear of God, the mighty. And the tribes have lamented for fear of God, the Lord of strength, the all-compelling. Say, the stunning trumpet blast hath been loudly raised, and the day is God's, the one, the unconstrained. And they say, hath the catastrophe come to pass? Say, yea, by the Lord of lords. Is the resurrection come? Nay, more, he who is the self-subsisting hath appeared with the kingdom of his signs. Seest thou men laid low? Say, yea, by my Lord, the exalted, the Most High. Have the tree stumps been uprooted? Yea, more, the mountains have been scattered in dust by him, the Lord of attributes. They say, where is paradise, and where is hell? Say, the one is reunion with me, the other, thine own self. O thou who dost associate a partner with God, and doubtest. They say, we see not the balance. Say, surely by my Lord, the God of mercy, none can see it, except such as are endued with insight. Have the stars fallen? Say, yea, when he who is the self-subsisting dwelt in the land of mystery. Take heed, ye who are endued with discernment. All the signs appeared when we drew forth the hand of power from the bosom of majesty and might. The crier hath cried out when the promised time came, and they that have recognized the splendors of Sinai have swooned away in the wilderness of hesitation before the awful majesty of thy Lord, the Lord of creation. The trumpet asketh, hath the bugle been sounded? Say, yea, by the King of revelation, when he mounted the throne of his name, the all-merciful. Darkness hath been chased away by the dawning light. Of the mercy of thy Lord, the source of all light. The breeze of the all-merciful hath wafted, and the souls have been quickened in the tombs of their bodies. Thus hath the decree been fulfilled by God, the mighty, the beneficent. They that have gone astray have said, when were the heavens cleft asunder? Say, while ye lay in the graves of waywardness and idle fancy. And among them, and among the heedless is he who rubbeth his eyes, and looketh to the right and to the left. Say, blinded art thou, no refuge hast thou to flee to. And among them is he who saith, have men been gathered together? Say, yea, by my Lord, whilst thou didst lie in the cradle of idle fancies. And among them is he who saith, hath the book been sent down through the power of the true faith? Say, the true faith itself is astounded. Fear ye, O ye men of understanding heart. And among them is he who saith, have I been assembled with others blind? Say, yea, by him that rideth upon the clouds. Paradise is decked with mystic roses, and hell hath been made to blaze with the fire of the impious. Say, the light hath shone forth from the horizon of revelation, and the whole earth hath been illumined at the coming of him who is the Lord of the day of the covenant. The doubters have perished, whilst he that turned, guided by the light of assurance, unto the dayspring of certitude, hath prospered. Blessed art thou, who hast fixed thy gaze upon me, for this tablet which hath been sent down unto thee. Commit it to memory and recite it. By my life, it is a door leading unto the mercy of thy Lord. Well is it with him who reciteth it at eventide and at dawn. We verily hear thy praise of this cause, through which the mountain of knowledge was crushed, and men's footsteps have slipped. My glory be upon thee, and upon whosoever hath turned unto the Almighty, the All-Bountiful. The tablet is ended, but the theme is unexhausted. Be patient, for thy Lord is patient. I considered that tablet. I suspect that tablet is Baha'u'llah's declaration to the Muslim community. It's very powerful. And now Baha'u'lláh wrote a declaration to all of Christendom as well. And one of these days, I will have to read that one online. I'm going to read now from a tablet by Baha'u'lláh called the Tarázát, or Ornaments. And we're at the 5th Taráz. I'm going to briefly go over what the first 4 were. I read them in their entirety on previous occasions, so I'm just going to give you the first part of it, just so that you get a grasp of what this is. So he says the first Taráz is that man should know his own self and recognize that which leadeth unto loftiness or lowliness, glory or abasement, wealth, or poverty. And there's quite a bit more to that. The second Taráz is to consort with the followers of all religions in a spirit of friendliness and fellowship. And the third Taráz, as I said, there's a lot more to each one of these. The third Taráz concerneth good character. The fourth Taráz concerneth trustworthiness. We read about that yesterday. And now here we are on the fifth Taráz. The fifth Taráz concerneth the protection and preservation of the stations of God's servants. One should not ignore the truth of any matter. Rather should one give expression to that which is right and true. The people of Bahá'í, that's the people of glory, should not deny any soul the reward due to him, should treat craftsmen with deference, and unlike the people aforetime, should not defile their tongues with abuse. So he's referring to the Muslim culture in the 1800s, where certain classes of people were looked down upon. And what Baha'u'lláh is saying here is that each profession should be honored rather than upraising some and degrading others, that each profession should be given due respect. And apparently, according to this Taráz, craftspeople were really looked down upon, because he's really writing about this. In this day, the sun of craftsmanship shineth above the horizon of the Occident. That would be us. And the river of arts is flowing out of the sea of that region. One must speak with fairness and appreciate such bounty. By the life of God, the word equity shineth bright and resplendent, even as the sun. We pray God to graciously shed its radiance upon everyone. He is in truth powerful over all things. He who is wont to answer the prayers of all men. In these days, truthfulness and sincerity are sorely afflicted in the clutches of falsehood, and justice is tormented by the scourge of injustice. The smoke of corruption hath enveloped the whole world in such wise that naught can be seen in any direction, save regiments of soldiers, and nothing is heard from any land but the clashing of swords. We beseech God, the True One, to strengthen the wielders of his power in that which will rehabilitate the world and bring tranquility to the nations. So this was written probably between, probably in the 1870s or 80s is what I'm guessing. And we'll go on with that, but you know, I remembered when I was reading that I want to read this prayer for America. In 1912, Abdu'l-Baha, who was the son of Baha'u'lláh, was released from his 40-year imprisonment and in Palestine. And one of the first things that he did was to come to this country. He was an old man. He was an old man and, of course, very weak from his imprisonment. But he came to this country, and he traveled in this country for 9 months, and he had like 3 presentations a day. He went to churches, he went to the Bahá'í, he went to the poor, he went to women's suffrage meetings, and he spoke about bringing peace to the earth. And he revealed, after he got back to Palestine, he revealed this prayer for America. And in this prayer, he talks about America in a very positive way. He says, this American nation is worthy of thy favors and is deserving of thy mercy. And he calls it this just government. So we all know that there are great flaws in our country, and it is far from just. But I think that the reason that he uses this terminology in regard to America is because, for all of its faults, America is one of the first nations to give a voice to the people. And I think that's what he's referring to. And as you see what he says, you realize that he's calling for America to attain spirituality. So he says, O thou kind Lord, this gathering is turning to thee. These hearts are radiant with thy love. These minds and spirits are exhilarated by the message of thy glad tidings. O God, let this American democracy become glorious in spiritual degrees, even as it has aspired to material degrees. And render this just government victorious. Confirm this revered nation to upraise the standard of the oneness of humanity. To promulgate the most great peace. To become thereby most glorious and praiseworthy among all the nations of the world. O God, this American nation is worthy of thy favors and is deserving of thy mercy. Make it precious and near to thee through thy bounty and bestowal. What we're going to do now is we're going to read from this book. Oh, it's coming out backwards. The Summons of the Lord of Hosts, Tablets of Bahá'u'lláh. It's a compilation of tablets. And where I am in this book is a tablet called the Suriy-i-Haykal, or the Tablet of the Temple. And in this particular tablet, Baha'u'lláh addresses several of the sovereigns and leaders of the world at that time, which would have been the 1860s. Now, Baha'u'lláh was a prisoner. He was a prisoner in an exile. This was during his third exile to Adrianople that this letter was written. And in this part, he's writing to Nasir-ud-din Shah, the Shah of Persia, who was responsible for his initial banishment and had a hand in his subsequent banishments. And this was revealed right before he was banished his final time to the prison city of Akka in Palestine, about which was said birds would drop dead from the stench. So he's writing while he's a prisoner to the Shah of Persia, and he's asking him to investigate the situation of Baha'u'lláh himself and his followers, who were being mercilessly tormented and persecuted. And he's also giving the sovereign advice on how to run his kingdom in a just and compassionate way. So, in this part of the tablet, Baha'u'lláh is offering a prayer. And he says, I implore thee, O my Lord, by thy most exalted word, which hath struck terror into the hearts of all who are in the heavens and on the earth, save only those who have taken fast hold of the sure handle. And I'll explain this. Not to abandon me amidst thy creatures. Lift me up then unto thyself. Cause me to enter beneath the shadow of thy mercy, and give me to drink of the pure wine of thy providence, that I may dwell within the tabernacle of thy majesty, and beneath the canopy of thy favor. Potent art thou to do what pleaseth thee. Thou verily art the help in peril, the self-subsisting. What he's really saying here is, when he talks about that most exalted word which hath struck terror into the hearts of all who are in the heavens and on the earth, save only those who have taken fast hold of thy sure handle. What I think he's talking about here is, he's saying that when a revelation from God appears, it abrogates the previous religion. So this is what is called divine unity. And this divine unity, the idea of this divine unity is that from age to age, God sends a messenger into the world, a divine messenger. And that the purpose of this messenger coming into the world is to bring new spiritual knowledge to humanity. And that each time a messenger comes, he builds on the spiritual knowledge that was brought before. So, for instance, Father Abraham brought the knowledge of the oneness of God, who never required human sacrifice. That was part of Abraham's mission. And then Moses came. And he said, not only is there one God, but he has laws. And law is not just at the whim of the sovereign. God has laws. And then Jesus appeared and he said, yes, there are laws. And there's also the kingdom of heaven. And there's also mercy and love. And then Muhammad came and he said, and there's also knowledge, and science and religion actually go together. They're not separate. When you try to separate them, you get superstition or you get materialism. And that each time a manifestation of God has appeared in the world, they have added to humanity's understanding. And that these manifestations have come to every culture throughout the existence of humanity. Some of them are so ancient we don't have their names, or they didn't come to cultures that had writing, but they've come to every culture, and that they will continue to come to every culture. And that when they come, because people have become so used to what religion for that day has become, because what happens to religion is that ignorant and unscrupulous leaders get hold of it, they change the meanings, or out of ignorance or out of desire for power and manipulation, And the original messages lose their original potency and purity because they're so messed with. And that then, therefore, it becomes necessary for a new messenger to come into the world to straighten it out. But when that happens, it creates a huge uproar. Because people get real used to thinking about truth from the way their leaders of religion have shown them in a very incorrect way. And that's what he's talking about. He's saying that the word of God strikes terror into the hearts, except those who have taken fast hold of the sure handle. So, in other words, the purity of heart. If you cultivate, or if we cultivate our love of God, our true love of God, by seeking to connect with God through prayer and meditation, and if we do our best to be just and kind to all people, if we cultivate these things, then we will be shown a greater truth. But we can't expect to understand truth when we're not even living it ourselves. If we want to understand what's true, we have to first live it. We have to first be it. And then more truth will be revealed to us. And that's what he's talking about here. And now he goes back to talking about the Shah of Persia. He says, "O king, the lamps of equity have been extinguished, and the fire of tyranny hath so blazed on every side that my people have been led as captives from Zara," that's Baghdad, "to Mosul, known as Hadba," that would be Constantinople. This is not the first outrage that hath been suffered in the path of God. It behoveth every soul to consider and call to mind that which befell the kindred of the prophet Muhammad. Now he's referring to Muhammad because, of course, the Shah of Persia is Muslim. When the people took them captive and brought them unto Damascus, known as Feha. Amongst them was the prince of them that worship God, the mainstay of such as have drawn nigh unto him, and the sanctuary of those who long for his presence. May the life of all else be a sacrifice unto him. So that I'm assuming that that's a reference to Muhammad. He says, amongst them was the prince of them that worship God. He was taken captive. The mainstay of those that have drawn nigh unto him, and the sanctuary of those who long for his presence. Now, remember that Muhammad came to a culture that sacrificed children. Muhammad came from a culture where the prevalent religion decreed that all the firstborn children who were female be buried alive. That was what was going on during Muhammad's time. That was one of the main things that Muhammad forbade. And his followers removed themselves from those practices. So when they were taken prisoner, they were asked, Are ye of the party of the seceders? I guess the seceders from whatever that religion was. He replied, Nay, by the Lord Almighty, we are but servants who have believed in God and in his verses. Through us, the countenance of faith hath beamed with joy. Through us, the sign of the All-Merciful hath shone forth. At the mention of our names, the desert of Batha, which is Mecca, hath overflowed with water, and the darkness separating earth and heaven hath been dispelled. Have ye forbidden, they were asked, that which God hath made lawful, or allowed that which he hath forbidden? We were the first to follow the divine commandments, he answered. We are the root and origin of his cause, the beginning of all good and its end. We are the sign of the Ancient of Days and the source of his remembrance amongst the nations. They were asked, have ye forsaken the Quran? In our house, he replied, did the All-Merciful reveal it. We are the breezes of the All-Glorious amidst his creation. We are the streams that have branched out from the most great ocean, through which God hath revived the earth, and through which he shall revive it again after it hath died. Through us his signs have been diffused, his proofs revealed, and his tokens disclosed. With us is the knowledge of his hidden meanings and his untold mysteries. For what crime have ye been punished, they were asked. For our love of God, he made reply, and for our detachment from aught else save him. And then Baha'u'lláh says, we have not related his exact words, peace be upon him, but rather we have imparted a sprinkling from that ocean of life eternal that lieth enshrined within them, that those who hearken thereunto may be quickened and made aware of what hath befallen the trusted ones of God at the hands of a lost and wayward generation. We see the people in this day censuring the oppressors of bygone ages while they themselves commit yet greater wrongs and know it not. I'm going to read this next paragraph. God beareth me witness that my purpose hath not been to foment sedition, but to purify his servants from whatsoever hath prevented them from drawing nigh unto him, the Lord of the day of reckoning. I was asleep upon my couch, when lo, the breezes of my Lord, the All-Merciful, passed over me, awoke me from my slumber, and bade me lift up my voice betwixt earth and heaven. This thing is not from me, but from God. Unto this testify the dwellers of his dominion and of his kingdom, and the inhabitants of the cities of his unfading glory. By him who is the truth, I fear no tribulation in his path, nor any affliction in my love for him, and in the way of his good pleasure. Verily, God hath made adversity as a morning dew upon his green pasture, and a wick for his lamp, which lighteth earth and heaven. Shall a man's wealth endure forever? or protect him from the one who shall ere long seize him by his forelock? Gazing upon those who sleep beneath the gravestones, embosomed in the dust, could one ever distinguish the sovereign's crumbling skull from the subject's mouldering bones? Nay, by him who is the King of Kings, could one discern the Lord from the vassal, or those that enjoyed wealth and riches from those who possessed neither shoes nor mat? By God, every distinction hath been erased, save only for those who upheld the right and who ruled with justice. I want to tell you how grateful I am to you for joining me this morning. It means so much to me to be able to share this, and the fact that you would check in and see what it's all about really touches my heart. And I'm going to end with a prayer from my heart for all of us. I pray, oh my God, that our hearts may be opened today, that our eyes may be opened and may receive light. I pray that kindness and goodness and mercy will invade our hearts and will shine from us to everyone who crosseth our path. That we will overcome our impatience, our judgments, and that we will just let love flow from us. And that when people hurt us, we'll rise above that pain, as Christ asked us to do, and show only love. And in this way, bring peace and healing to the entire world. And I'll close with a Baha'i invocation. Ya Bahá'u'lláh, O thou most glorious of the glorious.